Bună ziua, bine ați venit. Well, welcome back to living in Romania. And today we're on a visit to a cemetery, which is on the way to Craiova, and it's called Sineasca. Now I've got to be a bit careful filming in here. I don't want to offend anyone. I'm just going to show you some of the beautiful tombs and explain a little bit about the process of dying and burial, which is a serious business in Romania, and it differs hugely from our practices in the UK. So we'll head in. There are a couple of chapels we'll have a look at, and one or two famous graves. But as I say, I've got to be a little bit subtle because I certainly don't want to offend anyone. My own mother-in-law is buried here, but I won't be showing you her grave. She died some 5 years ago. So here it is, Sineasca. There we go. And in we go. Suitably mournful, dismal day, dreich, as we would say in Scottish. And there are three sections essentially. You've got the Cimitirul Sineasca, from the war dead to the Russians. Here's one of the most famous tombs, to Baloch. Baloch, the blonde midfielder, who was also a member of Craiova Maxima. And is renowned as one of the best players in that team. We'll some extraordinarily beautiful tombs. Right, so you have to organise your death well in advance in Romania, because you need to book a slot in the cemeteries, and they are hard to come by. The practice is to have a headstone with the dates. So Jon from the Familia of Roduț, born in 1936, died in 1994. His wife Elena was born in 1938, and her date of death isn't inscribed, so she's still alive. So that's how it works. You put your name, you put your date of birth, and then once you're dead, you inscribe the date of death. You can see they're quite elaborate. So you've bought your plot, for which you pay an annual rent. And I think you pay it in, I think it's in 7-year cycles, but if I've got that wrong, you'll tell me down below. So you buy your plot effectively for 7 years, and if you don't keep up the payments, the plot is repossessed and reallocated. A series of memorial ceremonies happen over the 7 years after your death. They're called pomane, And for the pomana, you would come to the grave, the tomb, and a priest will say some prayers for the soul of the departed. You bring a cake, coliva, and some wine is poured on that, and it is blessed also by the priest. And then the family retires to a restaurant or goes home for a meal, which is the pomana. And this happens on a regular cycle after the death at indeterminate, predetermined periods. Very unlike the UK, where we have a wake after the funeral and then that's it. Also very different, there are very few crematoria in Romania. Most people prefer to be buried, and obviously, as you can see, we're running out of space. So there are new graveyards, cemeteries being constructed on the outskirts of town to cope with the dead, because Craiova is a big city, 330,000. Here are some of the candles disposed of after the funerals. And you can see we're on the edge of Craiova, one of the new suburbs of Craiova. So what's the process then? Well, sadly, if you die, you're normally buried within 3 days. It all happens very quickly. So you've pre-bought your plot. The body is laid in your local church in an open coffin, and your family and friends come to see you. This is rather shocking for English visitors, and certainly for me, I wasn't prepared for it really, but that's the norm here. Open coffins. I think the same is true in Ireland. I believe that's the case. And then after 3 days the funeral takes place in the church. People send wreaths, corona, and for the funeral itself, the men normally have a white towel tied around their arms as a sign that they are mourners, and women might have a scarf. Towards the end of the ceremony, you're given a candle for the soul of the departed, wrapped within a handkerchief, and the handkerchief is weighed down by a little coin, normally 10 bun or something, in the corner, perhaps reminiscent of the money the Romans used to pay to Charon to row you across the river Styx once your time had come. I'm not sure, but it's certainly the custom. You can see some little chapels here where the priests will officiate at funerals, if the funeral is taking place here. Once the ceremony is over, the body is then taken with all the funeral wreaths, and there will be one from every family who knew the departed, so a lot of wreaths, taken to the cemetery and the deceased is then interred in the tomb with a further brief ceremony at the tomb. So it's remarkably efficient, and it's a part of life here, ironically, no pun intended. There is a team of workers supposed to look after the graves and upkeep, but that seems rather hit and miss. It works occasionally, occasionally it doesn't. So families tend to be responsible for looking after their own family graves. Now I believe this is the, well, it could be that one, could be the Heroes Cemetery here. I think there are two Heroes Cemeteries, one for Russian soldiers and one for Romanians. But we'll just have a look. Oh, these are certainly Romanian soldiers. You can see their rank, and they're buried here. With the inscription Slava eroilor Roman căzuți la datorie pentru apărarea patriei. Okay, the heroes of Romania gave their lives for the country. There are a couple of graves I do want to show you, and I'll bring you back when we get that. So here we are in the Soviet cemetery, part of the cemetery, which you can see. We've seen the Romanian graves, and the Soviet soldiers are buried here. Of course, they were, by the end of the war, fighting on the same side. And there is the inscription Glorie eroilor sovietici. Glory to the Soviet heroes. Once Romania and of course the Soviet Republic had changed sides in the Second World War. They were fighting on the same side, and their soldiers are buried here. So, although they fought together in the war, they are separated in death, as you saw. Okay, I'll bring you back when we get to those couple of graves I want to show you. This particular tomb for the Familia Băunescu, beautiful rose planted, and a tree, and the poor lady who died. This is very well tended, very well looked after. Parents still alive, and the doctor, who was a resident cardiologist, died at an unseemingly early age. And you can see it's a beautiful tomb in marble, and it's very close to my mother-in-law's tomb. Okay, we'll go on and have a look at another one. And similarly, a young doctor dying at an early age, and this poor young man dying at the age of 16. Clearly a keen footballer, because one of the emblems on his tomb is a stone football. This also is very, very well looked after, this particular tomb. Very sad to see someone taken at such an early age. Well, we'll head back towards the exit, and on the way I'm looking for a tomb of the family who donated the land for this cemetery to be created, but I don't know if I'll find it. I think it's on this route. Beautiful piece of sculpture on that tomb, and a couple on this tomb who look as if, I don't know which era they're from. It looks like the Victorian era. It's absolutely wonderful, beautiful. Died in, yes, born in 1845, died in 1910. So, there they are. Okay, we'll head back out towards the exit. I'm here fairly early in the morning, so not too many people about, which is better. You've got various water taps around for people who want to keep their flowers going. Extraordinary. Geniu Garada. Also died in 1910. Splendid bronze statue. I think that says Ulisse Bolbesque. What a magnificent tomb. Ah, and here's the family who donated the land. Familia Sineasca, donator pământului din Cimitirul Sineasca. There's their tomb there. Okay, well, I hope that's shone some light on the whole process of death. Hope it wasn't too morbid for you. There's a lot of beauty in this graveyard, in this cemetery, and many differences between our customs in the UK and Romania. So I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if enjoy is quite the word, but thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.